Alrighty, welcome everyone. I'm Teeaboo and I am here for episode 2 of Dorohedoro. Episode 1 I experienced as a kind of a high velocity fever dream from the psychedelic cooking OP montage thing that would put Shokugeki no Soma to absolute shame, to the absurdly brutal, beautifully brutal cold open with a guy with his head stuck in a giant lizard man's mouth, to the general background art and feel of this crazy, grungy, put upon city of Hole, and the contrastingly ethereal and weird and mushroom filled land of the sorcerers who treat the people of Hole as disposable playthings or things to mess with and practice their magical abilities with, seemingly with no real goal, but I'm sure that they have some reason for doing this that will be elaborated upon later. I found the first episode really fascinating. I didn't find the CG too jarring, and the characters are immediately interesting. We got stakes, we got plot, we got personal investment pretty immediately, along with a pretty wonderful dynamic between our two at this point main characters. I don't know if we're going to introduce other main characters and continue following sorcerers around, but given that we followed them around in the first episode, probably. The dynamic between these two very unique, very different, but interconnected worlds of Hole and the world of the sorcerers is kind of fascinating. We've got these sort of ethereal sorcerer people who are essentially gods among the men of Hole and just travel down there on a whim for a pleasure cruise to, turn people into horrifying insect monsters because that's how they train. What the fuck? I said in the last episode that I might go and check out the the first chapter of the manga just to see what we're dealing with and what's being adapted here, and I did go ahead and do so. I noticed a couple of things. First off, it's a lot more gory. The sequence in the cold open where Kaiman chip chops a guy into a billion pieces. Each individual piece has like anatomically accurate body parts, like no like well, I mean, there's blood, but like just almost like a cross section that you would see in a science lab. It's really nice and horrifying and really enjoyable. The art on the guy turning people into bugs was fascinating and weird, and the whole manga aesthetic is incredibly detailed, especially in the background. So you can see why they would bring somebody like Shinji Kimura on to make these backgrounds come to life, and I think he does a really good job so far. Show looks really good. The other thing that I noticed was that Nikaido's character design is actually rather different between the anime and the manga. In the manga, she's got a more traditionally like pointed chin and a little bit of a thinner, sharper features, whereas in the anime she's a little bit chunkier. I don't know how to put it, but she's a little bit bigger boned, and I don't mean that in like, oh, I'm not fat, I'm big boned. I mean she's literally bigger boned. If you were to strip away the layers of skin and musculature, then she would actually be thicker. In fact, her jawline is kind of like mine, where it's sort of rounded but has a little bit of a flatness here. I don't know why that's the case, but it is the case. Also, apparently, I was totally wrong when I said that. Oh, it's nice to see a character who isn't super sexualized because apparently we're gonna get real sexualized. Okay, doesn't put me off in any way, but like, all right, there goes that point. So gore levels, character design for Nikaido. Apparently, there are multiple layers of puns available if you want to interpret them that way. In the name Dorohedoro, you can chop it up in multiple ways and read it in a whole bunch of different ways that I don't really understand because I don't speak that much Japanese, let alone really understand katakana. I mean, I get the gist of it, but whatever. Somebody in the comments asked me why I said that like Nikaido's name seems apt to me. It doesn't quite work, but in sort of a punny sense, Niku is meat, and she has been shown cooking almost exclusively meat as well as gyoza. So I was just like, oh, she's all in on the meat stuff. So Niku Nikaido, I don't know if that actually works, but it works for me. Take it as you will. So yeah, first episode was fascinating and weird and gory and strange, and we got all kinds of odd elements like the jester like funeral shoes and the dropping an egg into a weird vat of pouring sludge sewage stuff, and the boss N being like he reminds me more than anything of the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland in a weird way, just like chilling on a giant toadstool, puffing on his pipe, doing weird stuff and throwing around technology that he just sort of manifests out of mushrooms. um there's a lot going on in this show already, and that's why I say that it was a high velocity fever dream, because it was not only a fever dream, and it was a fever dream that contained other fever dreams. Literally, Cayman has a fever dream in it. But it was extremely high velocity, really rapid paced from the cold open to where we left off, introducing elements and aspects of this world, the brutality of it, the dynamic between these two worlds, while still managing to establish its characters, their backstory, their past, their reasons for going and seeking specific sorcerers, the mechanics of how Cayman fights and how Nikaido fights, and his desire to shove other random sorcerers' heads into his mouth so that the weird person who just exists in there, who he doesn't understand, can look at them and determine whether they're the one. What? All right, it was a crazy first episode. Let's watch the second episode. I'm sure it's going to be also fucking crazy, because I don't think this is a train that has any brakes, and I'm kind of excited by that. So, without further ado, let's just watch it. I have once again gone and downloaded the Judas rip of Dorohedoro episode 2. I don't know if that's the best version available, but I looked on and it was like, I'm gonna go with that one again. If you know of a better version with better subs or better encoding quality or whatever, let me know and I'll consider switching. Um, yeah, that'll be it. Let's jump into this episode. So there will be two versions of this reaction video as usual. You can find a picture-in-picture version with the video up there, linked in the description, and a timer-based version up on YouTube. If you want to do a syncy thing and sync up your own copy of the episode with the timer-based version, you are welcome to do so. Just get your copy ready, because the beep beep timer to count you down will be coming at you now. Oh, right. Hearthead guy. Wow, we're going... And this is sort of carousel music, I would call it. Oh, so he was just dreaming of blood and gore. It's French. Shit. We'll go back and just make sure we didn't miss anything important there. Gotta get that good instant ramen. Hole is? Yeah, you know. Sure. And I want to put a hammer in them. Yeah, it's weird. Okay. She really looks like a boomer from Bubblegum Crisis, being specific. All right. Pickled plums? Psychedelic cooking montage. What's the thing with the ridiculous number of flies? Is this just because she is constantly cooking stuff and they're drawn to it, or is it just an element of this world? Nope. Yeah, let's go. Mix in those scallions, leeks, whatever. Make up some gyoza. Weird. And wonderful. In the bag. Like cat in the bag, or we've got this in the bag? Or is there going to be a literal bag? Not feeling well. Hmm. Hmm. Jesus. It's got some social commentary in it. Or industrial commentary, I don't know. Yeah. Nah, just homies. Matches? Are matches currency? I'm sorry, what? Nice. Hmm. Bruh. It's my break. Oh, it's moving. In the bag. Got it. Nice try. Gotta love a good nonplussed back fist. Just like, nope. Okay, so it's this scene again. Same scene. The tsundere murderer. Alright, buddy. Oh. So they're killing other sorcerers. Scrub, scrub. No, they did it by hand. Ah. He likes to fight on even terms. What a nice voice. Bags again. Specifically focused on the... The other one could only use his one finger, right? Because once it was broken, he wasn't able to. So has he had the fingers of, like, other people sewn onto his other fingers so that he can amplify his power? So that's the guy. The old guy, right? Or a different one that he did the same thing to. Just sludge. And we don't get to see it. Nice. Yeah, he gets some info. He wears a heart on his head. Bruh. Info. Details. Alright. Into the incinerator. No scream? Danny! Oh. Oh. Linka? Pay up, yo. Yeah, but it was kind of different this time. That sorcerer wasn't fighting you. He was begging for release. What's going on with Nikaido? Wow, I'm already invested in these characters. Just offhand realizing that. It's interesting. Kaiman's a good boy. For now. Kaiman. Nice. Hey, that is really pretty. That goopy sound. Yeah, you gotta buy the strong trash packs. It's nothing worse than filling your trash with trash and just like the worst. Especially when it's a living being. Is he wearing fucking Jordans? Oh my god. Well, that's what I'm talking about. Lift above head, roll natural one. Something that ends with L. Ho 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 ho. Sure it is. That's some sticky fingers shit. Oh, Fever Dream. Is this En's restaurant? Oh, hi, it's Ebisu, right? Just got bandages all over that face, which is now, what the fuck? She has gone insane, hasn't she? Just giggling randomly? Okay. Looking pretty fly, Tango boy. Oh, Jesus. Flat is justice. I'm sure that was more graphic in the manga. I'm sure of it. Hey. Hmm. Yeah. Kind of looks better the other way. Mm-hmm. Oh, fucking shit. Is that... Is that a broom? He's like super normal. He actually looks like that. Oh. Oh. I. Well, yeah. Again, the music is so. I need a word for that. It's heat from one side. Okay, whatever. Oh no, that's broil. I'm wrong actually. Braised is in liquid. Hmm. We're talking about Kaiman, right? Oh, so they're on the case. It's pretty concise. So Noi has healing abilities. Oh, interesting. You trying to order the lobster? All right. Oh. Uh, I know those voices. I know them from somewhere. You wrong though. You do. Oh. Except also not at all right. God, that's creepy. Huh. Wait, is it really them? It's not really them, right? Well, it's not really them. Holy shit, he just breathed them into mushrooms. You're eating dead people mushrooms? Aren't we all? Okay. What the fuck? Thanks. What are you talking about? Bro, you. Yeah. My beer. Poisonous gloop. Probably. That's awesome. That's awesome. The depth in these backgrounds is stellar. This is what passes for a hotel? Okay. A. Used to be a shrine, right? Guns, knives, whatever. Pork miso set, eh? Oh, now you fucked up. Boy! Oh, oh, you dead now. She just kicked his. That's not how eyeballs work, but okay, I'm down. It's not like you were gonna be able to put it back. Or is she gonna do a flip? Or is she just gonna toss it? Oh, hello, convenient flyer. Talking about the needle. She managed to make... I don't know what the hell that is, actually. Mochi? Yeah. Gloop, gloop, gloop. Aight. Okay. Maybe sobriety's a good idea. Is this a sorcerer club? let me chomp. Hey girl, let me chomp. Oh, what the fuck? Not now, man. You're a fucking sorcerer. Oh, your needle. Huh. I mean, there might be. And nothing. Okay. That's true enough. Yeah. What did he stick those into? Oh. Oh. What? Yeah, what object is that stuck into? You shedding? Yep. Still a lizard, though. Just like Ebisu. All right, we got a heart door. Does that say TikTok? Was that the whole episode? Holy tits, that was the whole episode. There's probably an after credits because there are a few seconds left. Wow, that went by fast. Like, zippy zappy fast. Is this meant to be jerky or is my VLC being wacky? I'm not really sure. It seems to be going to the beat. I just don't remember if it was like this on the first episode. Hi, Ebisu. Bye, Ebisu. Chomp. Sure can. Apparently. Apparently. And that is... I just hit a button. I don't know what it did. Oh, I'm switching the subtitle track. Okay, good. Cool. We're back to English. So I missed the very first lines of the episode. Are you sleeping? Have my eyes closed. Did you get the trash bags I asked for? Couldn't find the brand you always get. This place is really in the middle of nowhere. Okay, so that's a setup for later when it all explodes. Oh my god. This show is weird. The show's weird, but it is wonderful to watch, and the episodes fly by. I mean, that's just the nature of the pacing and the fact that there's something interesting going on in pretty much every scene. I think the thing that really stood out to me in this episode, while the backgrounds are stand out regardless, I think what really stood out to me was the soundtrack. It's pretty fucking fantastic. I really enjoy it. Okay, so this guy, who is he? Who's the voice actor here? I'm not sure if he's listed. Shin Yoshimasa Hosoya. Do I know you from somewhere? He's Yusuke Takahashi in Sangatsu. Oh, he's Tokoyami from Hiroaka. Mm, just skimming through his list, not seeing much else that I recognize him from. That's fine. He's Junpei Hyuga and Tenga Onigawara. Okay, cool. He's a whole bunch of things. Oh, he's Reiner Brown, whatever. Got it. He's got a great voice. Really like his voice. Now, I doubt that they're actually going to be listed. Yeah, they're not listed yet. But at some point, I want to look up the two transforming people because I'm sure that I recognize their voices from somewhere. They remind me quite a bit of never mind, I don't actually remember. Shit. There's a pair of weird transforming creatures in something else, but I don't remember what it's in. Okay, so we've got this sort of new sorcerer who was sort of teased in the end of the last episode, and his duo partner who's clearly very loyal to him and is hiding an inordinate amount of hair under that sort of skin tight, almost gimp-esque leather masky thing, and he's got the weird heart mask thing. I think the most standout feature of him is, well, there are two things. One is that he wears his mask backward, um, almost as a little bit of like a fuck you to the system almost. And we find out in this episode that there are sorcerers who aren't necessarily aligned with N or boss N. He seems more like a mafia boss amongst sorcerers than the leader of all sorcerers, which was kind of how he was presented in the first episode. So I wonder if there are multiple factions of sorcerers or if his is the main one and then there are essentially renegades. Now, clearly, these two are working for him and they're cleaners for him, but they've got a pretty shitty view of their boss, as demonstrated by. I clicked right on it. Nice job, me. N's just a real piece of shit, senpai. Wow, okay. Weird. We also find out that sorcerers, while they wear these strange headed mask things, are generally normal humans underneath. We sort of knew that from the previous episode, but here it's more clearly established that all of them are essentially normal humans. Their obsession with strange heads is weird and might bear some explanation, but it's also just fucking interesting and it makes them really unique and it makes it really easy to sort of tell who's who. Shin has a heart head. His partner has the sort of leather gimp mask. Ebisu is a skull. Tengu boy is a Tengu boy. I forget what his name is. Is he Fujita? Probably. Yeah, he's Fujita. Um, they're all unique and weird and interesting. It's also pretty well established now, I guess it was kind of established in the previous episode, that each sorcerer has their own form of magic. Now, one thing that's interesting that we see here with Shin is that he seems to be able to emanate magic from all of his fingers, where we found out in the previous episode after Fujita had his index finger broken that he was unable, as stated by N, was unable to use magic with that finger broken, which is why he was planning to resort to guns and violence, which probably wouldn't have worked for him very well. So I think there's an implication here that Shin, as a cleaner, has had his own fingers severed and the parts of other people's fingers sewn onto his own. So he's got like 5 parts of index fingers or more, given that each knuckle appears to be its own separate piece, all sewn together into this mangled hand that he's still able to use, but gives him the ability to emanate a lot more magic, I guess. Okay. How do you come up with an idea like that? I don't fucking know. It's weird. Okay. And then we have some kind of wonderful, almost, I wouldn't say that they're necessarily emotional moments. It's not like we know this sorcerer in the bag or anything like that, but we quickly discover what in the bag means, and we discover that Shin's ability is to hickety hackety chop people up into little pieces and keep them alive. Very Sticky Fingers esque, but also sort of blended with the sequence with the Squadra where the boss sends them some body parts, but and also blended with some like is it Dexter or Hannibal where he's got the thin sheets of people. In any case, it's fucking weird. Okay, I've got a phone call. Hold on. Sorry about that. I had to take that. There's an internet service guy coming over in the next hour, and I had to confirm it. Anyway, so I forgot what I was talking about. Oh, chippity choppeting people up into little pieces and then disposing of them in garbage bags, but not having the brand that you want and it exploding. There's a weird, dark, twisted humor, just sort of that the rest of this show is steeped in. And it sort of balances dramatic stakes and stuff with that humorous aspect. Like everyone takes their experience of living in whole as rote, as normal. Kaiman in particular is kind of a goofball who's really excited about winning a game of Hanafuda and getting a little bit more money out of it. But like the fuck? Now, I don't know uh why Nikaido was feeling down here. I assume it has something to do with her partial transformation in the last episode, but it's not really clear for me. She maybe is just feeling a little ill, whatever. But their interaction here and sort of the simplicity of their interaction and their friendship is kind of wonderful. Just like he stops himself on the stairs a little bit. It's like, thanks for the gyoza, yo. That was really nice of you. And she's looking out for him, and he's looking out for her, and I really like them. The background art. Can we just mention the background art? It's fucking nice. I mean, there's this moment where there's this really cool light dappling that's really solid with all these weird boards and the graffiti everywhere, and it's just wonderful. And then there's this moment where we've got these sort of cathedral-like spires and crazy architecture. And the thing that stands out to me most about the backgrounds is just the sense of depth that's created. In this case, it's created a lot by having multiple layers of stuff with the foreground object of the car, which gives us a really clear like eye drawn into the center of the frame, and then this section over here on the right that sweeps us down and into this brightest segment here with the lights also leading up into it with as a line. It's really nice looking. The whole set of background art is really nice looking. Um, Characters are very frequently in CG, and not just Kaiman and Nikaido, but everybody. Yeah, just try to celebrate, get covered in gore. Jesus. I mean, it's horrifying, but it's also finding humor in its horror. It's weird. So I wonder what this is supposed to say. I think it's probably supposed to say hotel. That would be my guess for this, but then it's been covered by the mushroom sticker. En's obsession with mushrooms is really crazy, and we find out later that he's essentially Caduceus Clay and just turns people into mushrooms for funsies. We also meet Ebisu again, and she's having a weird time. Seems to be enjoying herself, so that's nice, but just giggling. the face designs or mask designs, I suppose, are continuously interesting. This guy with the almost polka dotted suit and the, I guess, a planet with moons as his head. Fucking weird. Every character is just strange. And the clothing that she gets, which is just a bunch of zippered things that zip together and he can't figure it out, is fantastic and strange, and I'm sure a lot more lewd in the manga. Face reveals for everybody. He reminds me more than anything of that dude who can phase through objects in Hiroaka. It's weird. And she is just a shehemoth and pretty fucking all right. Yeah, cool, cool. Um, oh, what stood out to me about this sequence was the music, right? Yeah, there are a couple of layers to it. There's this like bouncy sort of almost 20s-esque vibe to this whole sequence created by the music. Um and then there's also this sort of circusy nature to it. I don't know what that is, but there's something about the instruments that they're using that gives me an almost circusy vibe as though we're but it's all disconnected because the actual sequence that we're looking at is really strange and weird and kind of creepy. It's essentially a mob meeting, and you would expect like dramatic music for this, but instead we get this sort of bouncy gesture-like tune that's very clown car-y or carousel-esque, and that creates this weird um um weirdness. It's just I don't know. It's fascinating and strange. All right, eating mushrooms. We get our henshin. I'm really not sure what happens here, but these two end up being uh, weird. Uh, Starting it off with that. Okay, the way that Kaiman walks up is really stand out to me. The way his shoulders go like this is fucking creepy. It's like I mean and plus the leather straps and the like belts as clothing that they're both wearing is very like BDSM live show-esque, and he walks up kind of like a stripper, just like a male stripper, like it's fucking weird. Uh but all of that adds to the strangeness and the atmosphere of this show. That's like, this is nothing like our reality. There is nothing from our reality that you can expect here. Everything's fucking whack, and it is. So then N just sort of barfs out some magic goop and turns them into fucking mushrooms because that's normal. Hate being wasteful, Sheen. Okay. There were some sequences. Oh yeah, the weird, goofy. Is he meant to be octopus-like or crustacean-y? I don't even know. It's just strange. Route 99, little details. Everything is used and dirty and grungy and weird. It's wonderful. I really like this sequence. Just the way that they're parallaxing these layers across each other creates a really nice sense of movement. It's one of the simpler effects, but if you get it wrong, it looks terrible, and they got it just right, so that's awesome. And then this scene is another one where we get a fantastic sense of depth as the characters move through this environment. I want to look. Yeah. It's a little detail, but as they pass through the shadows of this environment, they actually pass through shadows and become darker and lighter. See, light, dark, light, dark, light. Yeah. Wow, that's cool. These little cuts to more detailed aspects of certain areas, and then little things that I didn't even catch on first viewing. Like we go across this almost shrine-like pagoda-esque rooftop, and then there's a fucking corpse hanging there, and that's just normal in Hull. Welcome to Hull. It's wonderful, where what passes for a hotel is a small tent city of horrifying, identical, like army surplus bright red tents. and what passes for a supermarket is a dude behind a grate who hands you some shit ass ramen and some mochi. Like, what the fuck? Everything in this show so far has been just what the fuck, and also entirely internally consistent and strange and like believable in its own way. There's nothing that's broken my suspension of disbelief because everything is so insane and weird and unlike anything I've ever seen before that I can't help but disbelieve but believe in what's going on. It's a consistent world, just a strange one. And that's cool. You can tell strange stories in strange worlds. And we get a pretty dope action scene which shows us exactly what Nikaido is capable of as she chops people's heads in half, punches people or kicks people, I forget, so hard that they're here, let's see. It's a kick, right? Yeah. Does some capoeira-esque flippity flippity flap, and then kicks a dude so hard that his eyeball flies out of his head, unattached to his optic nerve, bounces off a wall, and then she steps on it to spite him. Because fuck you, man. Trying to steal my clothes and my food? Dude, no. Absolutely not. And that's just an ordinary day of life in whole. Just beat up a bunch of gang members, come home and enjoy your terrible pork ramen set and mochi. The fuck? Oh yeah, and then there's the Buddha Club. Um um the fuck, which we're introduced to by a couple of establishing shots. We get how do we do this? So we fade out, hard cut to music in, and people jamming. Hot but probably heroin addicted waitress lady, like 1,000 arms carrying different things, all moving around in a weird psychedelic trance state. Lights, 1,000. It's so bright and shiny and weird. There's also something very strange about this is how the people of whole party, but it's so right. Like this is such an accurate depiction of a warehouse party in a scummy district. It's right on. Wow, weird. All right, and then we meet this guy, do this thing, see some new stuff. Okay. And you're not the one, but hey, I'll try to fix your face. It doesn't work, but I'll try. And you're gonna have some trouble with a heart. We know what that means. Okie dokie then. Well, I'm gonna stick with my initial impression, which is high velocity fever dream. It's insane and it's functioning on an internally consistent but utterly ridiculous form of logic that's frankly really enjoyable, and I don't find the CG very off-putting. There were a couple of scenes in this episode that weren't like super great looking CG wise. I don't find it super off-putting. I find the characters really interesting. I find the dynamics between them surprisingly wholesome for the environment that we're going for. The gore and brutality and sexualization is turned up to 11. Not quite the sexualization yet, but we got little tastes of it. With the nude Ebisu and the Nikaido alike. We got little bits and pieces, but there's so much creative energy in this. Like N has mushroom-based magic, so he just barfs black goop and turns people into mushrooms, and then eats them. Okay, cool. This is a fascinating show so far, and I'm actually really excited to see where it goes from here. I might go so far as to say that this is probably my number two of the season after Eizouken. Nothing has come close to Eizouken for me, but I think this is probably my number two. It's pretty cool. All right, I think that's my take on this episode. I've been Teeaboo. This has been Dorohedoro episode 2. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have, and I hope to catch you next week when we'll definitely watch the next episode. See you there. Peace.